You're listening to the Australian Army Training and Doctrine Podcast.
I'm currently at the Australian Defence Colleges in Canberra, and I'm attending the Defence Entrepreneurs Forum, where today a new learning portal for the Australian Army is about to be launched. I've managed to sit down with Lieutenant Colonel Tom McDermott, and he's going to tell me a little bit about the Cove. Lieutenant Colonel McDermott, can you tell us a little bit about how an Armoured Corps officer finds himself involved in an online learning portal?
Hey, well, good morning, Mick. So, as you said, my background is as a tank officer. But before I came across to Australia, and we'll talk about that in a second, I'm sure, I worked at the Defence College in the UK and was involved in some educational activities. And when I came across, an opportunity came up to work within the Ryan Review and the re-energising of professional military education within Army, which is something I'm very passionate about.
And just touching on your history, you do have a different accent from most Australian Army officers. What sort of career did you have in the British Forces before coming to Australia?
So I served with the Royal Tank Regiment, which is the sister regiment of 1st Armoured in the Royal Australian Armoured Corps. But I was very lucky that in 2011 I was sent across as an exchange officer to the Australian Defence College to do Staff College. And when I reflected back on that experience a couple of years later, after some time in Afghanistan, the opportunity was made clear that I could come back and transfer. And so I elected to do so for a couple of reasons. One, a great passion for the Australian Army. And secondly, there's the interest of working in the Asia Pacific, which I think will be the most interesting period or area in the next 30 years.
So spending the next couple of days at the Australian Defence College is almost like going back in time for yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of déjà vu, and listening to lectures yesterday was very interesting.
Now, you're here primarily as part of the Defence Entrepreneurs Forum, but you're also part of an online learning portal that is about to be launched by the Army. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so in January I'll start as SO1 Professional Military Education for Army. Now that's a new job. We've had a lot of educational roles, but we've never had one specifically for professional military education. And my job is to take all the great educational theory that the Royal Australian Army Education Corps develop and make sure it's turned into military output. So we've looked at a load of things over the last few months, and we came across a new educational theory called connectivism, which I'll talk about very quickly if that's okay. Connectivism has developed since about 2008, and what it seeks to do is use the internet and all the tools the internet provides to connect learners together and let them work as a network to develop skills and mastery of professions. And it's proved to be really successful. Things called MOOCs, massive open online courses, now have about 35 million people studying higher education worldwide. So when we looked at it, it seemed like it had a lot of potential for Army, and we felt that we might be able to seize on it.
And how will the audience listening to this episode be able to interact with the Cove?
So the Cove is our solution to using connectivism for Army. And what we've created is an online hub that we hope will develop into a new network, a new professional development network for Army. So the Cove, which you can find at www.cove.org.au, allows people to interact with a live professional network, both of soldiers, officers and civilians, that allows them to discuss around really high quality content the profession of arms. And we're hoping that that discussion will lead to reflection and improvement in people's abilities.
In regards to learning material, what sort of content can users expect to see on the Cove?
So one of the sections of the Cove is called the Trench Line, and it's targeted specifically at junior leaders. So all the major training institutions in the Australian Army, the Warrant Officer and NCO Academy, the Officer Training Wing and others, are working together to develop videos, podcasts, short blog articles and live streams that will allow people to interact with their experience. So all that geography that sometimes held stuff back within the Australian Army, we're trying to break that down to allow all the users across Army to access the experts all the time.
And is the audience that you're aiming to reach with these learning tools restricted to rank?
No, absolutely not. So the Cove is designed to hopefully be able to connect everyone from private all the way up to general. But what we've done is we've split it into 4 themes. So we've got a theme on junior leaders. We've got a theme on leading small units. Now that's not just OCs of small units, it's the whole team that leads a small unit. A theme that leads units, and then one for generalship and senior officers. So we're hoping that by breaking into 4 themes, we can hold people into strong conversations that target certain stages of career, but then work across the rank structure.
And who will be producing the material for those who will be using the Cove as a learning portal?
Well, hopefully everyone in the Australian Army. So this is a network that will self-sustain and will look after itself. So what we're asking is, there's a big red button at the top of the Cove called Contribute, and we're hoping that soldiers particularly who have great ideas about how to do tactical tasks really well will get in touch with us and offer to send us short videos, short idea links, etc., that gets those ideas out across Army. And we might find that if we can spread those ideas, we'll be able to innovate and adapt faster. And that's really important today because we don't know what's going to happen next. And if we can't innovate and change quickly when the flag goes up, we're going to be in trouble.
So the Cove was launched today, the 9th of December. So users theoretically can jump on and start using it after listening to this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. So if all users need to do is go to www.cove.org.au and they can start interacting with the site. And the site itself is a seed corn. They'll see the structures we've set up and they'll see the potential of it. But what we need is the audience to tell us where they want it to go. And then we're going to develop it in the directions that the audience wants it in 2017. So there's some great ideas on there. There's the start point. But we want to hear from your listeners as to where they want to take the Cove in the future. It's their network.
Lieutenant Colonel Tom McDermott, thank you very much. This is Major Mick Cook reporting from Defence College, Canberra.
This podcast is produced by the Australian Army and is copyright the Commonwealth of Australia.